Today, I'm showing you guys how to make high-end steakhouse quality scalloped potatoes right from the comfort of your own home. These are rich, creamy, perfectly layered, and packed with flavor using very simple and common ingredients. Meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. All right, guys, first things first, let's talk about the equipment and the ingredients that you're gonna need to pull this off. Obviously, you're gonna need a casserole dish. This is the one that I'm using today. It's about a 9 by 11. You can use a foil pan if you don't wanna, have dishes at the end of this. Totally reasonable. You also are going to need a mandolin. This is very important when you're making scalloped potatoes or potatoes au gratin. Reason being, you want very thin slices of potato. That way they cook a little bit quicker. You get a nice tender end product. But more importantly, you want them to be the same size or same width. That way they cook at the same rate. You don't want some potatoes to not be tender while the other ones are too soft. Consistency matters a lot on the size of your potato slices. Next up, for our sauce, we're gonna use cream, a roux from butter and flour, a little bit of chicken broth, a little bit of heavy cream, and we're using Gruyere cheese and Parmesan. The potato of choice today is Yukon Gold, but you can use russet if you want to. We also have some fresh herbs. Also a Pro Chef upgrade here for the steakhouse flavor. We're adding caramelized onions in between each layer. This recipe is absolutely delicious, guys. You guys got to try it. All right, guys. So again, you want to use a mandolin, and you also want to be very careful. One of the leading contributors to emergency room visits is the utilization of a mandolin. You want to definitely protect your fingers at all times. They have cut-resistant gloves you can use. They also have these tools that you can use as well to protect your fingers. If you're a novice with this equipment, you haven't used it before, definitely take your time and be careful. Don't want you guys to leave the kitchen with less fingers than you came into it with. Preheat your oven at 375. Go ahead and thinly slice your potatoes and your onions, and then we're gonna get it started with the sauce. Real quick pro tip, you wanna make sure that the potatoes are as dry as possible. Potatoes have a high water content. As they cook, they're gonna expel some of that water. You don't want that to happen when you're making your scalloped potatoes because then they get a little soupy or too watery. So slice them thin with the mandolin like we discussed. Use a paper towel to make sure they're nice and dry. Once that's done, set them aside and get started on these caramelized onions. That's gonna elevate this steakhouse recipe. Get your skillet over medium heat, add a little olive oil, and then we're gonna add in two thinly sliced onions.
And today's episode is sponsored by Scentbird. What I like most about Scentbird is that it takes all the pressure out of choosing a fragrance. Instead of committing to a full bottle, you get a 30-day supply of a scent so you can really live with it before deciding if it's actually the one. This month I got a few different fragrances, and I love how easy it is to switch things up. The first one that I tried is the North Atlantic Right Whale Sanctuary. The top notes are sea green, marine notes, white patchouli, and to me it smells extremely fresh, like a cool breeze in the spring on vacation. This feels like something I'd wear in warmer weather, spring, summer, something like that. Next is Commodity Iced. The top notes here are frozen mango, eucalyptus, and spearmint. This one leans a little bit more crisp and herbaceous. Definitely a different vibe, but that's what I like about having different options. And then there's Liberty Beauty, Liberty Maze, which has bergamot, jasmine, and Earl Grey tea. This one feels perfect for daily use. It's fresh and feels like a warm weather scent too. Now, my absolute favorite out of the bunch is the Yellowstone Ride. This one is a little bit more cold weather vibe. It's got raw bergamot, smoked whiskey, which I really enjoy, and rough cut tobacco. I'll be using this a whole lot this winter. The case itself is super clean and portable. You just twist it and spray, and you can pop it in your pocket, bag, or carry on without worrying about any leaks. One thing people don't really realize is that wearing the same fragrance every day can actually lead to nose blindness, where you stop noticing your own scent. Scentbird keeps things fresh by letting you try something new every month, which I think is clutch. They got 900 plus fragrances to choose from, everything from popular brands like Prada and Versace to more niche houses. And their quiz makes it easy to find scents that actually fit your taste. It's super affordable. Your first month is just $9, and after that, it's only $18 a month, which makes experimenting way less risky without buying full bottle. If you want to check out Scentbird for yourself, scan the QR code on the screen and use my code MAKEIT to get 55% off your first month. You'll also get free delivery and a free case, so you're basically getting your first month for half price. That's just $9, which is honestly a steal. Again, guys, I love this company. I think you'll like it too, so hit the link below and try it today.
This is gonna take about 15 to 20 minutes. We're gonna let time do its thing and just make sure that these caramelize beautifully. Now, onions have a natural sugar content in them, so that is what's going to caramelize as this cooks down. The onions are going to render some of that natural sugar. It's going to add a natural sweetness. It's going to be delicious. We're going to add a little Worcestershire sauce, also known as worst word in the world sauce. little AP, little chicken bouillon just for a pop of MSG flavor enhancer. This is gonna be the perfect little additional element to your scalloped potatoes to take them over the top. All right, guys, we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of butter to the same skillet we sauteed those onions in, hopefully soaking up some of that flavor. And just in case we don't get all of it, we're gonna add the shallot to this melted butter. And then we're gonna add flour, effectively making a roux. After you have your roux, we're gonna deglaze a bit with some chicken broth, just a half cup, and then 3 cups of heavy cream. I'm also going to steep some fresh herbs just to add some flavor. We're going to remove those once the flavor has imparted into the sauce. Just go ahead and saute the shallots, heaping tablespoon of garlic, all flavors that pair perfectly with potatoes. Once we mix that garlic in, we're going in with 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Gonna cook that raw flour taste off for about a minute or two. Really light colored roux, and then chicken broth. Quick reminder, guys, that you can find this recipe and all of my recipes at MrMakeItHappen.com. Next up, we're gonna kill the heat on our cream sauce, remove the herbs. Looks like I left a little bit behind. Let's grab that. And then add in our cheese. You wanna do this off the heat. That way the residual heat can melt the cheese and you don't have an oily sauce. If the heat is too high when you add the cheese, you start to have some fat separate and oil pool at the top, and we wanna avoid that. So add the cheese off the heat, or turn the heat off. Remove your herbs, whisk in that cheese. Only the Parmesan, we're gonna use the Gruyere as we layer in the potatoes and to top the potatoes with. And we're gonna cover it with foil, pop it in the oven at 375 for about 45 to 60 minutes, or until the potatoes are fork tender. All right, guys, a few very important pro tips. First and foremost, you wanna go ahead and cool the sauce a little bit before we add it to our casserole dish. The very first thing to go into the casserole dish is a very light layer of sauce. After that, we're gonna add in our potato layer. You wanna always season each layer with a pinch of salt. Don't go super aggressive, but you want each layer to be adequately seasoned. This is quite a bit of potatoes. Potatoes can stand up to quite a bit of salt, and if you don't add the seasoning in each layer, it's gonna come out a little bit bland in the middle. So very important to do that. And then again, most importantly, don't overdo it on the sauce. So use your spoon here and just layer in the first layer, thin layer of sauce. And then repeat that process. You're gonna add your caramelized onions in between along with some cheese. Cover it with some foil and then into a 375-degree oven. All right, people, the very last pro tip is you have to let this cool for about 20 minutes before you cut into it. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. You want that sauce to really settle. That way you can get even portions like you see right here. It's still gonna be nice and hot. It's about 160 degrees. I measured it with the internal temperature of a thermometer. But you want it to kind of settle for a little bit. You don't want to cut into it right out of the oven or the sauce is gonna run all over the place. This is, for my money, one of the better homemade sides you can make. Restaurant quality. If you follow this recipe, you're gonna impress somebody for sure. But I'm gonna stop running my big mouth and get in there for a taste test. One last reminder, you can find this recipe and all of my recipes at MrMakeItHappen.com. This is the part where I say brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is dig in for the taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. Man, all right. Try not to burn myself here. You got them caramelized onions right in the middle. Bro, That is amazing. This might gotta go on the restaurant menu. Y'all gotta try this one. Oh my God.